Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. So happy to be with you today. It is a beautiful, absolutely glorious day. And for many of us, a day of relief, shall I say. We have been waiting with bated breath for days for the American election to come to closure, to come to resolution, to come to conclusion. And it took incredible patience. Dare I say patience, not just in the United States, but around the world, because everybody pays attention to the American election. I think, well, we know just about 50% of the people who voted for each side. There are several million more people who voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Therefore, they will take the baton and lead us forward. And there are many millions of people within the United States and around the world who rejoice at knowing that. And I will happily say that I am one of them. Kamala Harris went to Howard University, where I also attended. And while I don't know her well, I have known her here and there over the years. We have many people in common. And what I know about her is that she will lead with integrity and sensitivity and clarity and honesty. What I've seen, witnessed over the years about Joe Biden is that he is a man of integrity and honesty and focus and collaboration. And these things are very important at a time when we feel incredibly divided. I want to say that I also am very sensitive to the people who did not support Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We live in a democracy. We know that we vote for the candidates that we believe in, that we choose, and only one, or in the case of a president and a vice president, two can win. Only one ticket can win, which means somebody's going to lose. For whatever the reasons are, and however you may feel about the oppositional candidate, know that there are people who are mourning at the same time as there are people who are joyous. And what is beautiful and special about democracy is, at least by design, we are supposed to be able to experience the fullness of what happens with the movement to vote, with the count of a vote, with the decision of the people. What is supposed to happen next is for everybody to rally and say, we support you, whoever got elected, and we will work with you to make America good, great, best for all the people. That has sort of withered away a bit, kind of frayed at the edges over some years, often based on politics and people digging in. But imagine if we took a different approach and whoever is in office, we choose to stand up and demand that our interests and needs and vision be counted, be included in the steps forward. Why am I talking about this when what I have stated is that today we're going to be talking about success? Why? Because people take sides around success when there is a vote, when there's a decision made and there's a pivot and there's a choice, and the choice very naturally means one thing is going to be chosen, one thing is not. And we are living in a culture for many years, maybe a generation or two, with parents and children and teachers and children. We have had this notion that everybody should get an award. Do you know that one? Where your child might be on a sports team or wherever there's a competition, and there really should be one at the top. Maybe there's first place, second place, third place, whatever that is, when there are places for things. And then suddenly every child got an award at the race, a consolation prize. You win too. And I think the notion of that was we want our children to feel empowered. We want them to feel loved and supported and good. And in a way, that has panned out positively, but in another way, it hasn't. Because folks need to know, starting at a young age, that when there is a competition, you have to do your best and understand that competition can be healthy and respectful, but you have to work your butt off if you want to be at the top, if you want to be the winner at something. It doesn't mean that you stomp people, that you try to push people aside, that you cheat. It also doesn't mean that if you win today, you're guaranteed to win tomorrow. But success, in my view, requires that you reach, that you strive, that you put forth as much energy as you can in order to get to the best place possible for you and also for whatever environment you're in. And again, go back to the election. I'm looking at my friend Peaks, who's saying, congrats to the Biden-Harris ticket, praying for a peaceful transition. Yes, we want peace starting at the presidential level. And that's not guaranteed. There is so much vitriol still stirred up right this minute that we don't know what will happen. But we can choose success and peace. In fact, I think that success truly comes when peace is infused in it. It does not mean that you don't reach as high, as far and beyond what your imagination can envision. But if you infuse it with peace, then what happens? I think this is something that we need to be mindful of. We need to contemplate from the big picture, the presidential picture, and as I always say, from our own lives. So if we think about success in our lives, what does it look like? If going back to that image of children and everybody getting an award, what about only the people who win get an award, but you as parents and educators and community supporters explain this is what it takes to be successful in this regard. Just having the consolation prize for everybody's a winner, doesn't help young people to be trained to understand how to strive, how to push, how to reach, and how to be honorable at the same time. I think we lose sight of the lessons that can be involved in the pursuit of success if we don't teach them. And with children, it is step by step. It's with precision that we help them to see the way forward, help them to understand right and wrong based upon what we believe, what we value, and help them to be righteous and kind as they strive to do their best. Success can take on different forms, but in my view, in my understanding, my study, success can both be the incredible reach and inclusion. Not anointing when it's unworthy, but inclusion so that your success can be shared with others. Now, I've looked up success, and wow, there are so many great quotes, but I'm going to share a couple of them with you. Here's one that I really like. It says, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And this is from Winston Churchill, great statesman. Let me read it again. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Now, let's look at this in the context in which we're living right now. There's an election. In America, that is a sign of success when someone wins. We know that that winning is not for a lifetime because we have 4-year limits, right? So we know at the very minimum that success lasts for 4 years. When I say minimum, in terms of measuring of success, that success lasts for 4 years. But within that one victory, how do we keep the victories coming? The victories that support each other, our communities, our families, the people in desperate need. It's by continuing to do work and being conscious of what the needs are. Failure is not fatal. Well, that is not always true, but it doesn't have to be. If we pay attention in our lives, there are failures every day that each of us experiences. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how rich you are, how devout you are, how much of a servant you are to the people in your world. You still fail sometimes. I don't ever want us to dwell on failure, but we do need to acknowledge that it happens. And if we acknowledge that failure happens, and it doesn't mean that our spirit, our being is so devastated that we cannot move forward. If instead we realize, I can learn from that. I made a mistake. What can I learn from it? This requires that conscious action and attention and awareness of what's going on within you and your life, so that you practice paying attention. You practice contemplating and studying and meditating on what you have experienced, what you've done, so that you can learn the lessons from your failures. When you learn those lessons, then the victories can be that much greater. What Winston Churchill says, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. The courage to continue that counts. You know, I always say at the end of my broadcast, have a great day and make it count. What does it mean to make something count? What does it mean to make your day count? What does it mean to have the courage to continue? That is what counts. Think about it in your life. Do you sometimes plod through your day not really paying attention to what you're doing because, well, you have a routine? So you just do what's next. How can you step back and approach that differently so that you make each moment count? When you practice conscious intention about how you move through your day, you can be so much more efficient because there's no plotting. Even when it's time to pause, if it's a conscious pause, then it can be very restful. Now, my husband is good at taking naps. I'm not so good at it. But last week was incredibly stressful, not just for me, for so many of us, because we were waiting for the results of the election. And it was so emotional, I think, for all of us. And I found myself extremely busy with work and extremely tired, like emotionally fatigued, which turned into physical fatigue. And I was not plodding through my day. I was reaching to have the energy to accomplish my tasks. But I realized I needed to take a nap. I needed to step off, pause, be still, and breathe. And really take a moment to restore, because the fatigue was bearing down on me. And so I took a nap for like 20 minutes. That's all I had was 20 minutes. Because I gave it my complete attention, it worked. This time I was able to take a nap. When I got up out of that nap, I was refreshed. And I think we often push through whatever our physical and emotional challenges might be because we have a list. You know, I'm the queen of lists. We have a list. We have things to get done. We don't have time to stop and feel and sit in whatever's going on for us, guess what? Sometimes we need to take a pause. Sometimes that pause is needed in order to get back into alignment with our full being so that we can move with intention and capture success for that moment, whatever that means. And I'm not talking about just the success of the presidential election and the fact that your vote mattered and my vote mattered. I don't mean just that. I mean, what's on your list for your day? What do you need to accomplish, and are you doing it? Have you piled up your day with so many activities that your head is spinning and you don't know what to do next? You cannot be successful if you overload yourself so much that your head is spinning and you can't see straight. Take it from somebody who does that sometimes. Not intentionally, obviously. It is not my conscious intention to wear myself out or to be speeding along so fast that I miss something. Of course not. But it happens. It happens less, though, when I follow my practice, when I start my day in meditation, when I remember to take my 3 cleansing breaths when I'm feeling off center, when I step off for a few minutes away from a screen, away from a phone, to have a little peace. When possible, when I walk outside for a few minutes. If not, just get up and stretch and breathe and reconnect. It makes such a big difference, and it helps you to have the courage to continue. When things feel heavy, when you feel uncertain, when you're worried, when you are deflated because somebody, dashed your spirit, somebody criticized you, someone spoke to you in a tone that cut like a knife, when you didn't do something well and you were reprimanded for it, if you didn't get the promotion, if you didn't keep your job, if something that you value didn't go the way that you wanted, and you feel, cut down by it, have the courage to continue. Have the faith to believe that you can push through whatever the negative is, that you don't have to lose your sense of self, even if you have been dashed. That's really hard to do, but it's possible. I want to tell you, because I think sometimes hearing my stories and some of the people that I know that I share with you, maybe that'll help you to have an example of what I mean. So I was working on a project recently, and I offered one of my skills to the project to help take it to the next level. And it was somewhat accepted with some reluctance, but all I was doing was trying to help. I did my part. We turned the project in, and the client was like, what I don't like is what you did, Harriet. My particular contribution was rejected. And on the one hand, it was gravy for me to offer. It was something that the team and I thought would help elevate the project that needed a little support. So on the one hand, it was just, an extra. But think about it. I offered an extra, and it was summarily rejected. Nah, we don't want that. We don't want you as part of this thing, at least in this way. So I had to sit with that. I was okay with it. All right, let's take it out. Let's keep moving. But emotionally, if I'm honest, I have to say that I felt kind of funny that something that I'm very good at, that I offered, was summarily rejected. That is what I would call failure. When something is rejected that you do, specifically something I did was rejected. And I sat with it and I thought about it, and I allowed myself to feel, unhappy for a moment because it wasn't even handled so nicely. And then I realized it's okay. Them rejecting something that I offered as an extra that they didn't want, okay, we keep moving. We keep moving. It doesn't change my abilities. It doesn't change my creativity. It doesn't diminish the quality of the execution of what I offered. They just didn't want it. Failure does not have to be fatal. I hadn't read this quote yet when this occurred, but I'm thinking about it now. And what does that mean in that context? If you offer something to someone else and it is rejected, it can be crushing, emotionally crushing. It can be very, very difficult to feel good about yourself if someone, some institution, whoever says, I don't like that. Because even though we often think of ourselves as strong, we are emotional beings. We have feelings. And so I sat with it to see what is the lesson that I need to learn. And it was simply, you're not always going to, your offering is not always going to be received in the way that you would like for it to be received. Okay. And then I was able to move on. And I was able to move on graciously and know that I am no less myself. My skills haven't been diminished any because somebody didn't want what I had to offer. I'm repeating it because I want you to think about your life. Look, all of us face rejection at different points. How can we experience success in the face of rejection? Learn the lesson, whatever it is for you. Lick your wounds, do some deep breathing, know your value, and keep it moving. And what did Winston Churchill say? Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. One more time. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So folks, we have to continue. We have to be strong. We have to muster up all of our creativity, all of our capability to support ourselves in our lives, the people that we love, and our government, and our world. Let us create space for success, which means that we create space for failure, and that we can have the courage to continue. Can we do that? I know we can. Thank you for being with me today. Thank you for sharing in this truth-telling experience. Would love to continue to talk to you. You can go to Dreamleapers Inspiration page that we have on Facebook. And also tell your friends that these Dreamleapers Inspirations are now available as a podcast. Tell your friends. I look forward to being with you soon. Until then, have a great day. Have a great week and make it count. Namaste.